Hi, friends. It's me, Miss Robey. So today, I know I'm not here today, which makes me really sad, but I am excited to do this recorded lesson with you. So today, we're going to be doing a little bit of writing into our journal that we started yesterday. So today, if you actually remember, you can think back to yesterday where we were writing our opinion piece and we took our introduction from our blueprint and we started putting it into our notebook because we really spent a whole lot of time writing our introduction in our blueprint, so it was super easy to put it into our draft. Well, today we're going to be working on the body paragraphs of our draft. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you of some things that we're going to be including into our opinion piece and the things that Miss Robey's looking for. So whenever I'm looking at our writing, I'm using what we call a rubric. So I'm looking for different things in our writing pieces. So I'm going to share with you that today. Then we're going to start drafting in our notebooks. Now, if you haven't, you want to make sure you already have your introduction moved from your blueprint and directly into your writing draft. So make sure that you've done that before you continue with this video. Okay, because we spent so much time in our blueprint, all you have to do is copy it into your notebook. Okay, so make sure that's done first before we work on our body paragraphs, okay? Once you have your introduction done, we're gonna work on that first body paragraph and maybe even our second, depending on how you're feeling about it. All right, so this week we started really creating our opinion writing and putting it down on paper. So we're using a rubric. So great readers and great writers even begin with the end in mind and look at what do I need to have? And that's really what our blueprint is. So we're using that to guide our writing. Okay, so here are some of those things that Miss Robey really is looking for in your opinion piece. I'm looking for your lead or your hook, okay, in your writing with your introduction, okay? I'm looking for your opinion being clearly stated in your introduction. Miss Robey is looking for 2 reasons with those supporting details. You can see that here. I'm going to be looking for transitional words and phrases, which we're going to talk about today. And at the end, we're looking for restating our opinion in our conclusion and our closing statement, which we've already drafted those. So we actually have these 2 already, and we have our first 2. So today, really, we're going to work on these 3, this red, blue, and this kind of like magenta color or brown color. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how do we add those reasons and details in our body paragraphs. And that's what we're going to start with today. So if you really want to look at a detailed rubric, this is how Miss Robey is going to be grading you. I'm going to be looking at, does your opinion express your feelings about your topic? Okay, can I tell you fully developed each of your reasons in your body paragraphs? Okay, do you have text evidence and examples in your text? Okay, I'm going to be looking for your introduction, a body, so our 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So those are the things that I'm looking for. Later, we're going to be talking about those errors in capitalization and looking for verb choices. We're going to be looking for those, but mostly Ms. Robey's looking for this first chunk. Can we actually write our opinion piece? Okay, so this is how I'm going to be grading you on these. Okay, so this is in your slideshow. You're more than welcome to take a look at this again and look at it closely. Okay, so let's start transferring our thoughts from our blueprint and now putting it in on paper. We haven't fully fleshed out our reasons and our examples because we didn't need to in our blueprint. But now we're going to take what we've brainstormed and come up with and put it down into our draft. So remember, we're going to be looking at these R and the E today in our Oreo. So really, we're going to be telling the readers why we feel that way and giving 1 to 3 examples of why we feel that way. So using those words because, and we're going to give details to support that. So that's really what we're going to focus on today, that R and the E. So let's jump into it. Let's start developing our first body paragraph, okay? So our body paragraphs of an opinion essay are super important because this is where we give our reasons and we give our evidence. Okay, if we don't have these paragraphs, we really don't have proof of why we believe what we believe, and we've got to have that proof, okay? So here's what we're going to start with. We're going to use this checklist to really make sure we have everything in our body paragraph. So the first thing we're going to do is start each paragraph with a transitional phrase and our reasons. So transitional phrases are words, and you can see here, that really help us signal that we're moving on to our next paragraph. There are ways that we can flow smoothly through our writing so that it's kind of like a nice smooth road. We're not going boop, 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 like swerving all over the road. Okay, we want our paper very smooth so our readers can really understand our viewpoint and understand our opinion. Okay, so I actually created this chart here to kind of help us. So we're going to look at our first reason. Here are some transition words that we can include in our paper to start off our reason. So I'm going to use this today, and I want for you to watch how Miss Robey makes her body paragraph. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing with me. Okay, now you're not going to copy my paper because you have a different opinion than me. Okay, but you're later going to have the opportunity to really create that good body paragraph. Okay, so I'm actually going to hook up my document camera that we've been using. So give me 1 second. I'm going to open that up for us. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to hit pause on this for a second and come right back. All right, hi friends. So I've got my document camera set up for all those friends. If you don't remember, Miss Robey's actually doing this with the cans of soup right now. So I actually have on our screen, hopefully you can see pretty well, is Miss Robey has her, you can see my writing on the screen, which I believe you can. So hopefully you are seeing that right now. And I'm going to try to pin it to make sure you guys can constantly see it. Okay. So in our writing notebook, which hopefully you have that black and white notebook out, you're going to be seeing your introduction placed here. Okay. Now remember, we did this earlier this week. So actually yesterday on Thursday, we took our introduction from our blueprint, right? I actually printed mine here so you guys can actually see. Okay, so Miss Robey actually took her introduction from her blueprint, and all I did was I copied it into my writing. Okay, so if I were to look at my blueprint, you're going to see that it's the same exact one. Okay, but make sure that you have your indenting here. Okay, now that I have my introduction written in my notebook, I'm going to start by going into my first body paragraph. Now I need to have a transition word to let my readers know that they're starting a new paragraph and new ideas are coming forward. Now in our body paragraph, that's really where we're putting our reasons and our reasons and our evidence. So I'm going to look here at my transition phrases, and this is actually in your slideshow that you can take a look. Okay, I'm going to look at some of the transition words I can start with. I could start with a phrase like to begin with, one reason, to start off, one important reason. So I want you to pick one of these that you feel like is going to make your first body paragraph really stand out. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these. I actually think I'm going to go with one important reason. Okay, so that's how I'm going to start my paragraph. Now, every time that we start a paragraph, not just in opinion writing, you want to skip a line and you want to indent. Okay, because as a reader, that lets us know a new paragraph is starting. So as a writer, we want to make sure to do that. So I skipped a line. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to use 2 fingers to indent. So I have my 2 fingers here. And I'm going to start with my transition word. Remember, I picked that from this chart. Okay, I didn't have to come up with it. Miss Robey gave me those tools. So I can use that first reason and use that transition word. So definitely take a look at that chart I put on our slideshow. So I'm going to put one important reason. And I'm going to explain that reason, right? And I was writing about how the blacksmith is the better character. So I'm going to put one important reason why the blacksmith is the better character is because, okay, and I'm gonna actually pull up my blueprint now, and I'm gonna look at the reason that I brainstormed with my group and Miss Robey. So I'm looking up at my blueprint, and I see that I wrote one reason why I thought the blacksmith was better was because he had strong muscles. So I'm going to take that idea and I'm going to put it into my writing. So I'm going to say one important reason why the blacksmith is the better character is because he has strong muscles. Okay. So now that I have, and I'm sorry you guys couldn't see my whole sentence there. There we go. Okay, now that I have my reason, as a writer, I need to now give that evidence to back it up, right? Because it's really important that we just don't come up with these reasons out of thin air. We have to make sure that we're very clear how we got them. So let's take a look here at our supporting details, right? We already did the work here, so let's use it. Okay, so in our supporting details, I found my evidence for my story. So I found that muscles are as strong as iron bands. That was said in stanzas 1 and line 5. That's where I got my information. Okay, so make sure you talk about where that information came from. Okay, so I'm going to add that here to my writing. So I'm going to start with, I know this because, or you can say in the text. That's another great way to kind of transition into your evidence. So I'm going to start with in the text, I think. I think that sounds the best. So I'm going to put in the text, the blacksmith has, and I'm going to put this in quotes because I took this directly from my text. If I'm taking it and I'm lifting it out of the text, I'm putting it word for word, I have to use quotation marks. So you see Miss Robey use these kind of like little bunny ears here. Okay. I'm going to say the blacksmith has muscles strong as iron band. Okay. Oops, grabbed my eye there. Okay. And I'm going to end that with our quotation marks. Make sure whenever you copy something directly out of the text, you got to start it with a quote. And then once you're done copying out of the text, you end it with a quote. Okay. So I put that right here in my text. And I want to make sure too that I put down where I found it. So I'm going to put in parentheses here. Put stanza 1, line 5. And technically this little period needs to go after if it wants to erase. Here we go. After. Okay. All right. So now that I have my reason, right? I can see it right here. One important reason why the blacksmith is a better character is because he has strong muscles. I have my reasons. Did I just give evidence that E in that Oreo? I did. I said in the text, the blacksmith has muscles strong as iron bands. Okay, now here's where your last sentence is going to come into play. You're going to explain why that evidence helps you. Okay, so here I'm going to put in the text, the blacksmith has muscles strong as iron bands. So I'm going to put, this proves he is super strong. Okay, so this proves that he is super strong. Okay, so if you have iron band hands, that means you're super strong. And you know what? I think I'm going to add just a little more to this as well. So we see super strong, like, I'm going to make this like iron. There we go. I'm going to add just a little extra. I thought a little oomph was great. Okay, so now that I have my reason, I have my example, and I've explained how I got my example, I'm ready to move on to my next part. All right, now that I'm ready to move on to my next part, I want for you to go ahead and hit pause in this video And I want for you to write down your first body paragraph. Okay, now remember, you're looking for your reasons, right? Make sure that you have your transition word. Use this chart, right? It's in our slideshow to help you pull it up. Pick one of these reasons as your transition word, just like I did. I started with one important reason, okay? And I filled in my reason, I provided some evidence, and I explained how it supports my idea, okay? All right. So now we need to go into our second paragraph. Now, if you wanted to add more, maybe I want to say, proves he's super strong like iron. This makes him the better character. Okay, could I do that to kind of add a little extra? Of course. Okay, do I need that? Not really, but it does make my writing stand out a little bit more. Okay, so make sure as a writer, okay, you're going and you're trying to add those reasons, explain it with your evidence, and then explain how it helps you. Okay, so that's really what we're looking for. So right now, go ahead and try to write your body paragraph. Okay, go ahead and hit pause on this video. All right, friends, so now that you've hopefully written your first body paragraph into your writer's notebook, remember, you could always look back at these to help you. So look back, make sure that you have these things. Did you start each paragraph with a transition phrase, right? Did you use our chart here on slide 9 to help you come up with that transition word, okay? Did you give supporting evidence? So you can use words like in the text, on the page. Did you explain how your evidence supports your reason? Okay, did you make your sentences flow? Are you clear and are your sentences complete? Okay, so double check, make sure you have all of these things, because when we meet on Monday, we're going to be adding our final body paragraph in our conclusion. All right, friends, so hopefully you had a great job putting your first body paragraph into your opinion writing. If you want to give a shot and try your second paragraph, you can. If you want to wait till Monday, that's okay with me. All right, friends, thank you so much for being great listeners and following along on this virtual writing lesson. I hope you have an excellent day, and I'll see you on Monday. All right, bye, friends.